Chapter 11 The Prince's Story, found on page 83. They stopped and said a farewell by the edge of the river. This took a very long time, as all the monkeys wanted to shake Dr. Dolittle's hand. Afterward, as the doctor and his animals walked alone, Polynesia said, "We must be careful. We are walking through the king's land again. I am sure he's still angry with us. That was an awful trick I played on him." "Yes, but the thing that has me worried," Dr. Dolittle said, "is how we will get another boat to get home. I don't know if we'll be lucky enough to find someone as kind as our fisherman friend back home." The walk back took many days. One day, while they were passing through a thick part of the jungle, Chee-Chee went ahead of them looking for coconuts. Unfortunately, while he was away, the doctor and other animals got lost. They wandered around and around but could not find their way down to the seashore. Chee-Chee was upset when he realized that his friends were lost. He climbed high into the trees for a better view. He looked for Dr. Dolittle's high hat, but it was nowhere to be seen. He shouted, he waved, he clapped his hands. It was no use. They seemed to have disappeared altogether. Indeed, they had lost their way. They strayed far off the path. The jungle was so thick with bushes and vines that it was difficult to move at all. The doctor used his pocket knife to cut his way through the branches. They stumbled into wet, boggy places. They scratched themselves on thorns. There seemed to be no end of trouble, yet they could not find their way back to the path. At last, after hours of wandering through the jungle, they stumbled into the king's back garden by accident. The king's men rushed to them immediately and captured them. Polynesia, always a quick thinker, flew off into the treetops before they saw her. The doctor and the rest were taken to the king. "Aha!" the king said when he saw them. "So you are caught again. This time you will not escape. The doctor, who thinks he's so clever, will be scrubbing my kitchen floors for the rest of his life. Guards, take them to the prison." So the doctor and his animals were led back to the small dungeon. They were all very upset. "This is such a shame," Dr. Dolittle said. "I really must get back to Puddleby. The fisherman will think that I've stolen his boat, and the animals will need tending by now." All this time Polynesia was sitting in a tall tree near the garden. She looked into the distance and saw Chee-Chee swinging in the trees. He was still looking for them. When he saw her, he moved quickly to her side. He asked what had happened to everyone else. "The doctor and all the animals have been captured by the king's men," she whispered. We lost our way in the jungle when we ended up in the back garden by accident." "Couldn't you guide them?" Chee-Chee asked. "You know your way through the jungle." He began to scold her for not taking care of them while he looked for coconuts. "It was all the pig's fault," said Polynesia. "He kept running off looking for roots and other trees. I had to keep going to look for him. Then I forgot where I had turned left or where I had turned right." "Careful," Chee-Chee said. He held a finger to his lips. "Look, it's the prince wandering through the garden. We have to be careful that he doesn't notice us." The prince did not look happy. He sat down beneath a tree and hung his head. He was holding a book. He opened it up, but did not start reading. He leafed through the pages and sighed. "If only I could live in these stories," the prince said out loud. "I am a prince, and I live in a palace, but it's not like the fairy tales. Our palace is not as grand. I do not have as many beautiful things. I wish I looked like the heroes in these stories. I wish that was my life." The prince closed his eyes and held the book to his chest. He sighed once more. Chee-Chee suddenly had an idea. He whispered it to Polynesia. She nodded, then flew down to a branch closer to the prince. "Young prince," she said. She spoke softly in a high, gentle voice. She did not want to scare him. She wanted him to hear a friendly voice instead. "Young prince," she said again. The prince opened his eyes. He looked all around him but could not see anyone. He did not think of looking in the trees. He did not suspect it was a parrot talking to him. "Yes," he said. "Who's there?" "It doesn't matter who I am," she said. "I have come to tell you something very important." "I don't understand," he said. Despite Polynesia's best efforts, The prince was nervous. I am the queen of the fairies, Polynesia said. I have heard your wishes. Really? The prince said. He had read stories about the queen of the fairies, but did not know she actually existed. Yes, she said, I can hear the wishes of everyone in the jungle. Unfortunately, I don't have time to help everyone. I can only pick special people and special wishes. And you are here to answer my wish? The prince asked. He sat up straight. This was very exciting news. I understand that you want to look and act like the heroes in fairy tales, Polynesia said. Yes, yes, please, the prince exclaimed. He was excited. He had been so sad a moment ago. Now he was going to be a hero in a fairy tale. Although I am queen of the fairies, Polynesia continued, I'm not able to help you all of my own. What do I need to do? The prince asked. You need to see Dr. Dolittle, she said. He is the smartest man in all the world. He will make your dreams come true. Dr. Dolittle, he replied. But how will I find him? I'm only a young prince, and I live so far away from everybody. You are a lucky prince, Polynesia said. It just so happens that Dr. Dolittle is here right now. He is sitting in your father's prison. He knows everything about magic and medicine. He is the only one who can help you. But what can I do? The prince said. You must go to see the doctor, of course, Polynesia said. But do it in secret. Wait until the sun has gone down. Then sneak over to the prison and talk to him. He will know exactly how to help you. And now I must leave. I must get back to Fairyland. Thank you, Queen of the Fairies, the prince said. He waved his hand and smiled, even though he did not know which way to face. Then he leaned his head back and smiled. The prince sat quietly beneath the tree. He waited for the sun to set. End of chapter 11, page 90.